The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame, with exciting Vol sports prints now available.
You are watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television. This is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
Welcome into the Sports Source. Tennessee loses at Texas A&M in a double overtime thriller, 45-38. Once again, they fight their way back from a huge deficit. There have been times this year when we've talked about victories and pointed out the negatives, pointed out the flaws, because we knew eventually those flaws would catch up, and yesterday a lot of them did. At the same time, because we've been critical and I think fair with some of those victories, I think we'll probably be fair with this loss as well. We'll see what everybody else thinks. I walk away seeing more positives than negatives, even though you shot yourself in the foot a whole bunch. I look forward to seeing what everybody else in the panel says. Let's dive right into this show. It's brought to you by Tennova Healthcare, this segment is. When it comes to joint pain, so many people feel like they have to live with it. But with recent medical innovations and top-notch orthopedic doctors, Tennova can help you beat joint pain. Visit Tennova.com to learn more about the panel discussions they have, the get-togethers they have, and also the information they can share with you regarding joint pain. Tennova Healthcare. All right, I want to welcome in the first wave of panelists. We have, as always, my Ed McMahon. Bob Hodge is here. VFL Will Overstreet right there. Jimmy Himes right there. VFL David Ligon joins us today. Guys, put this up here. Yesterday on Twitter, I posted this. A group of Tennesseans go to Texas, casualties galore. You lose the battle, but you darn sure showed you might win the war. I think it did remind me of the Alamo yesterday, because here's the thing. You wound up going down there with half a team. You left with a quarter of a team, basically. Everybody got hurt. But I was rather impressed with the fight they showed. We looked at it on paper all week and said this is not a good matchup, especially with the injuries. Didn't matter. They continue to fight. I want to see if you guys took more positives or negatives out of it. But I walk out of that loss actually feeling better about the team and its talent level and its drive than I did the wins over Appy State and Ohio.
Just sum it up real quick. I think it's one of the most impressive losses I've ever seen. And I mean, you can't feel good about losing that great, but by golly, you got to feel good for the coaches and the kids from the standpoint of what they have built that enables you to go out there every week and against odds that are what, 20-1, you're going to win when you're down by 14, and every week you keep coming back and you don't quit. I thought it was an impressive loss.
All right, let me get the former Vol here. Let me get your take. Do you focus more on the sloppiness, school record 7 turnovers, 12 penalties, or do you focus more on this team's playing with an arm behind its back in terms of injuries, and they're still doing better than we thought?
I think it's the latter. I come out of this very positive. I thought this was the most impressed I've been with this team, even in a loss, because frankly, it was the best game plan. It was the best performance by the offensive line. There were several other groups in this game that had their absolute best games. The only thing you didn't win in this game was holding on to the ball. Everything else, you had this other team. And really, let's face it, you've been playing against the SEC East. The SEC West right now is a lot better than the SEC East from top to bottom. Yesterday, you were able to show you had the talent to match up with anybody on the SEC West as well as the SEC East. What's that mean? You have the talent to beat anybody in the country on any given day.
Guys,
John, I thought this team showed enough resiliency to where it could still have a special season. I mean, you mentioned playing with one arm behind your back because of injuries. They also shot themselves in the foot, not just one foot, both feet, with all the penalties and stuff, and they still, you're down 21 on the road. That play by Malik Foreman, I think, said a lot about what this team is, and that is A&M is going to score the go-ahead game-clinching touchdown, and he makes a heck of an effort to force that fumble, puts Tennessee in position to score a touchdown, get it into overtime. You can't count this team out. They've had deficits of 83 points now in their games where they've come back to either win or tie. I think that says a lot about the resolve of this team.
Which you don't want the deficits, obviously. Right. You got to clean that up. Give them smelling salts before the game, not just at halftime. But the Malik Foreman play that you bring up, that's almost the perfect embodiment of this team. Because we've talked on this show about they don't quit on seasons under Butch Jones when they've had a chance to go in the tank and they haven't. They don't quit in games. They don't quit on plays either, because that was a hell of a play to get down there and to continue to fight, but then to actually make the play and get the ball out of him. I mean, I've seen 1,000 plays where the guy punches at it, doesn't get it out of there. I thought that was the perfect embodiment of everything this team is about. David Ligon, pluses or minuses? What do you focus on?
Well, I certainly think that there are a lot of things that you can be positive about. It's unbelievable that they keep coming back and putting themselves in the opportunity to win games. At some point, that's not just luck. They're a good football team. But the first half woes, the troubles with turnovers, the penalties, those still worry me. I still have concerns. If you can fix those, boy, oh boy, this is a really good football team.
Yeah, and you still have all of your goals ahead of you. We'll talk later about whether or not the SEC is going to give you a fair shake on reaching some of those goals. But certainly the East is well within reach. I mean, I walk out of this game. You got Alabama next. Number 1 team in the country, 18 wins in a row. They score on defense consistently, which isn't good if you're the team that continues to turn the ball over. But I still walk out of that Texas A&M game thinking, yeah, Tennessee can step on the field with those guys. Not just because they played them well last year, not just because Alabama struggles sometimes against the spread, but I think this Tennessee team, even a depleted team that you saw yesterday, can line up and play with these guys. Doesn't mean they'll win, but I don't think it used to be Alabama way up here, Tennessee way down here. I don't think it's there anymore.
But before the season, I thought that Tennessee would be elite, 10-2 kind of elite, because of their defense. I thought their defense. Now I think you have a chance to be elite because of your offense, because you've got playmakers at receivers, some of which need to make a few more plays than they did yesterday. And your offensive line now, I don't think it's good, but it's good enough after the defensive line that you faced yesterday. So if you know, going forward, Tennessee's offense, I think they can play with just about anybody.
Well,
and I left everybody silent on that.
Speechless.
So, yeah.
No, I think Dobbs gives you that edge there too. Because look, he's got a couple of warts, but my goodness, when he's clicking and he's making plays and he's calm and all that stuff, I marveled at his ability. What, he had 398 yards passing, I think. Yeah. Heck, he's even catching touchdown passes. Yeah. I just think what he does, the leadership that he brings, gives you a chance on offense.
And I don't know how many times it's been a while since UT's had as dominant defensive player as Derek Barnett.
Yes.
Because at times in that game and in the last couple of games, he has been a complete series killer of the other team.
He's a serial killer.
But he has been as dominant a defensive end and making plays as anybody I've seen in this league in a long time be able to do from the defensive end position.
And later in the show, I'll ask you, the former NFL defensive end, who made more money yesterday in terms of the NFL, Barnett or Myles Garrett, who didn't play at 100%, but boy, both those guys are all they're cracked up to be. I mean, they are all they're cracked up to be. David.
Well, I was going to say, I think for me, looking at that game, and there was some trouble or a few issues late, but the improvement of the offensive line, particularly the last 2 games. Now, there's some injuries there. We'll see how that shakes out going for the rest of the year with Dylan Weissman. I don't know whether it was a head or neck or what, but boy, oh boy, those guys really gave Josh Dobbs some time to throw. They were opening lanes up. They just played better. They're more cohesive as a unit, which is so important on that line. Now, again, we're going to see how a elite defensive line and defense of Alabama affects them, but I really enjoyed watching them play better. And I think that helped the offense. I think that play is sparking some of this offensive production.
You get some of that sloppy play out of there, and this offense is, I mean, can you say as good as any in the country? Probably not, but pretty dang good.
If you can get the sloppy play out of here, here's the problem. I think that's who they are. Later in this show, we're 6 games in. If people are still waiting for this team to turn a corner, I don't think the corner is going to be turned. I think we know who these guys are. There may be a game where they play a clean game, but we're going to define this team. 4 things they will do in every game, 4 things they will not do in every game. The goods, the bads. That's later in the show. When we come back next, though, Alvin Kamara. How do you use him going forward? How about this? More than you have been. Also, the injury situation we'll discuss. Come on back.